Okay, so hey guys, and today I'm back with another Star Wars movie review, and this time it is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. So let's begin the review. Okay, so this movie opens with a blast and immediately tells the audience that is not messing around, and I really love the space battle scenes. They were just so fun and entertaining to watch, and I really like how there's just so much going on. But if you thought that the fun ends after the space battle scenes are over, you are wrong. Because after Obi-Wan and Anakin enter the humongous spaceship to rescue Palpatine, the fun part gets replaced with intense. Because yes, many scenes were just so intense during this rescuing scene, especially the ones with elevators. What's not intense though is the lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan, Anakin and Dooku, since it just kind of feels underwhelming this time around. That doesn't mean it was a bad lightsaber duel by any means though, just not enough by prequel lightsaber duel standards. I would say that the most interesting part of the scene isn't even a duel, but what happens after Anakin cuts both of Dooku's hands. Although I didn't like how Palpatine was being so direct with the do it and all, I still did like how he got Anakin to free the anger inside of him. I would still prefer it if he was a little more subtle with it though. Anyways, after that we get introduced to General Grievous, and I may really like his design, but even I will have to accept that his voice is absolutely hilarious. And with all those robotic coughs, I just kinda can't take him seriously in his introduction scene in the movie. I think that they were going for something Vader-like, but that failed miserably. The prequels should just not try to replicate anything from the originals, because the uniqueness of the prequels is exactly what makes it stand out for me, and that is why I love them. The prequel era is so much more unique and superior to the original era, which is kinda gloomy. What's not gloomy though are the conversation scenes between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and they keep being great, heartwarming and interesting. This time, it also told how much Obi-Wan needs Anakin for his missions once again. I really didn't like how greedy Anakin was being in this movie though. The Jedis were giving him a chance to be a part of the council, and they were actually giving him that much honor and respect, but he wanted more. He wanted to be a master. The Jedi gave him the finger, so he tried to grab the entire freaking hand. The sad thing is, he could have actually gotten what he wanted if he didn't trust and listen to Palpatine, but instead listened to his master and the rest of the Jedi. Okay, so now let's discuss about the opera scene. This scene is such a masterpiece and does everything just so well. The thing that I really like about this scene is that Anakin actually gives strong points against what Palpatine is saying in the beginning, but that just doesn't work and he easily changes topics. The "not from a Jedi" dialogue gives me chills most of the time I watch this movie, and stuff like this is what has made Palpatine one of my favorite villains of all time. The acting done by Ian McDiarmid is great once again, and I think that this is Palpatine's best quote-unquote normal form scene. What do I mean by normal form? Well, when I say normal form, I mean Palpatine in his normal skinned form and not in his pale skinned one. Basically what I mean to say is this is my favorite scene of Palpatine before he turned pale and all, because if it had to be my favorite Palpatine scene of all time, then it would probably be something from Return of the Jedi. It really blew my mind how Palpatine just revealed to Anakin that he was a Sith, just like that. It really caught me off guard, to be honest. I really liked how Palpatine kept reminding Anakin in this scene that he needed him to save Padme and for his dreams to not become true, like it did the previous time. You see, Anakin, this is why you don't tell anything about your nightmares to politicians and Sith Lords like Palpatine. And not just any Sith Lord, it's one of the most manipulative and evil Sith Lords we are talking about here, and also one of the most intelligent ones. He just kept injecting again and again that Anakin needed him in Anakin's mind, and the sad thing is he really didn't, because if he didn't turn to the dark side, Padme would never die, and even if she did die of childbirth, she was destined to die anyway. So I think Anakin should have followed what Yoda said and rejoiced the living instead of mourning over the people who have become one with the Force. At least if he didn't turn to the dark side, he wouldn't feel guilty of killing Padme, something that he probably didn't even do. Okay, so back to Grievous. This is the first time I got to see Grievous's lightsaber, and while I wasn't so shocked by Maul's double-bladed lightsaber because Phantom Menace was my first Star Wars movie, this one surprised me a bit. However, what also surprised me was how easily Grievous's arms kept getting cut up by just one of Obi-Wan's lightsabers. Even though Grievous had freaking 4, the duel between Obi-Wan and Grievous was pretty mediocre and underwhelming, to be honest. All that Grievous built up for nothing. But I do get that was for the greater good because Grievous would kinda be a distraction and killing him off would be the better choice for the greater good of the epic finale of the movie. Okay, so this is finally where the movie gets super serious and super good. Mace Windu and 3 more high-ranked Jedis come to fight Palpatine, and while the "I am the Senate" line might have been mean to that, I will still say that is absolutely a badass line. Palpatine just defeating 3 of the Jedis at once is also pretty badass, but it's kinda confusing how Palpatine defeats 3 high-ranked Jedis at once in the matter of a few seconds, but then loses to Mace Windu. He even gave Yoda a run for his money, so how did he lose to Mace Windu? Anyways, Anakin finally arrives and chooses the absolute worst timing for the arrival, and Palpatine acts as a victim because of course he does. Anakin killed Dooku because he was too dangerous to be left alive, but then say that Palpatine deserved a chance, even though he was even more dangerous to be left alive. Why? Just because he thought he needed Palpatine to save Padme? Such selfishness and hypocrisy. The only thing that this led to was ultimately Padme's death, but an added bonus of the Jedi existing no more, and Anakin becoming trapped in the dark side. Order 66 has to be one of the most devastating and heart-wrenching moments of Star Wars ever. The Jedi Temple March was pretty cool though, but that doesn't make the deaths of the Jedi any less sad. Even though I love Sith and the dark side, I truly hate this scene and Order 66 itself because this is what led us to the gloomy, shitty original trilogy era. The prequel trilogy era was so much better than the dull original trilogy era. I also love the dialogue given by Padme, which is "This is how liberty dies," with thunderous applause, and this is such an underappreciated line. Do people not get how ironic this line is? The irony in this is absolutely amazing, and I think the only reason this line doesn't get enough recognition it deserves is because it's from the prequels. The youngling killing scene is pretty dark, so is the separatist killing scene, but that is what they deserve for having such stupid eyes that still freak me out, and also for trusting a freaking Sith Lord. The "who could have done this" dialogue is just so great, and that's great acting right there. It was just so sad seeing Obi-Wan see who really could have done this. Okay, so Yoda goes to Palpatine to fight him, and it's pretty surprising to see Palpatine Sith lightning even overpowering Master Yoda at first. It's probably because of how sudden it was and because it caught Yoda off guard since we saw Yoda deflecting his lightning later on in the fight. And "if so powerful you are, why leave?" is a really badass and underrated line. I also really like the clever use of the round thingies in the Senate room. That is probably what makes this fight my favorite moment of this movie. Yes, I like Yoda vs Palpatine more than Anakin vs Obi-Wan. I guess I like action in a lightsaber duel more than emotions. That's probably why I didn't like Kylo Ren vs Luke in The Last Jedi, because yeah, there were emotions behind the fight, but the fight itself was such underwhelming hot garbage. So same here. Not saying that Obi-Wan vs Anakin was anywhere near the garbage fight that was Kylo Ren vs Luke though. The prequel fights are in a league of their own. Okay, so after Anakin has arrived on Mustafar and finished his job there, he sees Padme's ship landing there and rushes to the ship. He and Padme argue with each other, and then Anakin gets too angry and starts choking her, which like, what? Wasn't he doing all this for Padme? Is Anakin stupid or something? Wow, he has turned into a monster and will harm anybody who doesn't agree with him, even if it's his master and Padme. And because Obi-Wan doesn't agree with him too, he starts dueling with him too. The duel starts as some awesome epic but kinda emotional music kicks in, and I would really recommend any viewer to focus on the expressions of Anakin and Obi-Wan while watching the fight. The fight itself is pretty awesome, and of course Anakin loses because he has to get get that Vader suit somehow, and also because he didn't have the high ground. I know that this has been mean to that too, but this scene actually tells that Anakin lost to Obi-Wan just because of his arrogance. He could have actually won, or it could have maybe ended in a tie, but no, Anakin overestimated his abilities and therefore lost. At the end, Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia, and Darth Vader gets reborn, this time in a suit, and we see the beginning of the construction of the Death Star. This has to be the most depressing scene in the history of Star Wars, and this made me cry. Yeah, a prequel movie actually made me cry, but it was just so emotional. You could even clearly see that Anakin was starting to regret his decision to join Palpatine at the end. It's just so sad and depressing. Rating 10 out of 10. Best moment, Yoda versus Palpatine. Okay, so yeah guys, and that was it for the video, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. And so yeah guys, bye!